met in May of 2016. I had to do some volunteer work for Tennessee Tech for a scholarship that I was receiving. Mr. Greg Pryor introduced me to Larry and to the archives. When we first met, me and Larry didn't get along at all. And, however, this changed in a couple of months. When I truly became a Christian in August of 2016, I was having a very hard time reading the Bible and understanding it. I talked to Larry about it. And he told me, he said, don't worry about it. He said, read a chapter a day. He said, don't worry about the things you don't understand. Focus on the ones that you do understand. Here's one of the pictures of me and Larry when we were first together. After that, I started paying attention to what I could understand. And I learned how to read the Bible through God and through Larry. I have now completed reading the Bible twice, and I have started on my third time. This is one of Larry's pictures. We never could take a picture without him cutting up with one. Him being cutting up with one another. I mean, if anybody knew Larry, he was a cut-up. Larry and I were married on January 3rd, 2016, or 17. We were so very happy, and we were hardly ever apart unless he snuck off to the farm. We had so much in common, more than we both realized. He was and still is my biggest supporter when attending college. Before I graduated Tennessee Tech, he surprised me in 2017 in December. He took me to Hawaii. First time on a plane, first time seeing Hawaii, and we went to Pearl Harbor. Me and him both were history buffs. When I graduated from Tennessee Tech in December of 2018, there was over 1,000 of us graduating. Larry spotted me out of all the people there, stood up, and was taking pictures and grinning from ear to ear. I was just glad to be done. He always said that I was his success story, and failure was not an option. I will always remain his success story. After graduating Tennessee Tech, I took a year off. I needed a break. Before attending college, going back in 2020, me and him both discussed where I wanted to go. I didn't want to go back to Tennessee Tech. So we kept on looking, and I found Grand Canyon University. It was a Christian-based school. In January of 2020, I tested positive for type A fever, and so did Larry. Mine turned into pneumonia, and Larry was worried. We had COVID then, but they didn't actually know what it was. However, we overcame it that time. No, I still need that picture. Just put it in the back. Larry and I were faithful about reading our Bibles every morning. While we were eating our breakfast, we would always discuss what we had read. This is what I miss the most, is our daily discussions about the Bible. Many people told Larry that he was too military, that he was too churchy. That's what I love most about Larry. My husband was a Vietnam vet and a Desert Storm vet. He served his country proud. The military never left Larry. This is the picture I now sleep with on his pillow. During August of 2020 until May of 2021, I had been exposed to COVID numerous times. I never caught it. In July of 2021, I finished all my scheduled courses, and all I had left was student teaching. To celebrate, we went to Pigeon Forge, because for the first time, that was the first time I didn't have to take my laptop to do homework. I was excited. To Larry, my homework came first. This was our last trip to Pigeon Forge. Larry and I talked about me getting my master's degree And I'd already started the process of working on getting enrolled for my history degree and, master's degree in history. He was so excited, and I almost had him talk to him to go on with me, because I told him, I said, how awesome would that be, us both walking through the line together. I started my student teaching 2 weeks early, and I was excited about finishing early. However, God had other plans. Neither of us that we were aware of. I started my teaching, and I told Larry, I called him Bossy, and he called me Pumpkin Eater. Don't ask me where he got Pumpkin Eater, because I don't know. I was supposed to walk the graduation line in October, but we decided that instead of doing that, we was going to go back to Fitching Boards and stay for a week. This didn't happen either. I explained to Larry that I was working in COVID, and there was a good chance that I could take it. He was worried about my health and put me before him. He worried because I always got pneumonia. But we always stated that we were in God's hands. Three weeks into my student teaching, my world turned upside down. And I will forever be heartbroken. I lost my taste and smell, and I tested positive on August 27th. I still don't have my taste and smell back. Larry was worried, you could tell by the look on his face. Larry started feeling bad and started showing signs of COVID August 31st. He said he'd been tested positive on September 1st, one day before his birthday. When I was going to college, I told Larry, I said, you have to stay with me. I said, you're my main support. I can't do this without you. I tried to get him to go back to the doctor, and he wouldn't go. On September the 5th, I could tell that he was doing really good. He was doing better than I was, because he was out walking me that day. As the weekend went on, I noticed he was getting worse. I begged and pleaded with him to go back to the doctor. He didn't want to leave me alone. On September the 6th, he was really sick, and we had been getting out and going to the farm and setting. On September the 6th, he wanted to go back, and I told him I wasn't going to take him. He was too sick. He begged me to take him. That was the last day he saw the farm. When I got him to go on September the 7th, I had to get a little angry with him, and I had to cry because he had to see me cry. I regret getting angry with him, but he did go back to the doctor. When I got him there, this picture was taken a week before my world turned upside down. That was the last picture we ever made. His oxygen level was 43. His fever was 103. He was still telling me he was fine. He was still trying to cut up with all of them in the office. He was admitted to the hospital, and that's where he remained for 12 days. Okay, I'm gonna do two. Larry was always, if anybody knew Larry, he was always tough and military and all this. He was always the serious type. After I got to know Larry, I told Larry, I said, you ain't nothing but a big teddy bear. He said, what do you mean? I said, you've got a soft spot. He said, don't you dare tell nobody. He said, you're grandpa style. So when he started acting all military, I looked at him and I said, you ain't nothing but a teddy bear. The last thing I saw Larry alive was on September the 19th. I spent my last 6 hours with him before I gave him permission to turn off the vent. The last words that Larry ever said to me, and I will always cherish, is I love you too, baby. When he was in the hospital, I never had the feeling that I was going to, that I wasn't going to bring him home. I didn't have the feeling it was going to be a while. Even when I went to say bye, I never had the feeling that I was going to lose him. However, I look back, and God spared me and Larry that. If I'd had the feeling that I was going to lose Larry, when I talked to him, I would have cried. That would have made him a lot worse. Then if I was able to visit him, it would have broken my heart to see him suffering so much. So then again, God spared me there again. When I think about losing Larry, I think about 2 Timothy chapter 4, verse 7. I have fought a good fight. I have finished my course. And he kept the faith. Because the night before I took him to the doctor, I said, Larry, are we going to make it? He said, we're going to fight. He fought a very hard fight. And the only reason he did that was because of me. He served our country, and he definitely kept the faith. On September the 19th, 2021, my beloved husband finished his fight. He doesn't have to fight anymore. My world is turned upside down, and I will never be what I used to be, because a part of me died when he died. During this time, my faith has been tested, willing to live and to start a new beginning, but I still continue. And I will always be Larry's wife. During my struggle, I keep in mind this verse, and I repeat it daily. It's Philippians 4:13. I can do all things through Christ, which strengthens me. As a matter of fact, that was on my graduation cap. Larry made me promise that I would continue my education, and he did this in August. He kind of tricked me. And he made me promise that I would return for my master's degree. In January 2022, I kept my promise. I start my master's degree in history in June or July. I was still going through my student teaching. I was in shock, I was numb, and I was trying to process of what happened. Many times I wanted to give up. I could care less if I finished or not. Didn't have a desire to finish. Our friends kept reminding me that I promised Larry that I would finish. After losing Larry, I begged and I pleaded God to take me home with him. Because all I wanted to do was be with Larry. I don't remember much from September the 19th until the second week of December. I was completely lost. I didn't know where to go from there. There's not much I remember from the service. I know some of y'all said you were there. I don't remember y'all being there, I'm sorry. All I was focused on was that was the last day I was going to get to see Larry. It was the last day I was going to get to touch him. I do remember Quentin, Beth's son. He was one of the pallbearers. I told Quentin, I said, I don't know where to go from here. And his exact words is, God will show you a way. You have a purpose. It took me a long time to realize I had a purpose. There were 5 stages of grief, and I think I've repeated some of them several times. Denial. When I went to make the arrangements for Larry, I begged him to get up off that table. I grabbed him by the arm and I told him, I said, come on. I said, show him that you can get up off this table and come on with me. I used to think he was at the farm, so I would go to the farm. He wasn't there either. I have got past that. When we had this service, I told one of my friends, I said, put him in the car and let's take him home. I am no longer in denial that Larry's gone, because I know I will see him again. Anger. I didn't have anger at God. Not even the day he took his last breath. And I thank God for that every day. I pray about that every morning. I did have a lot of anger towards the hospital and the doctors. They wouldn't let me see him. And they had punctured his lungs twice on September the 17th. I had to get rid of that anger before I could heal. I prayed daily for God to take that anger away, and he did just that. I talked about the hospital and the doctors not letting me see Larry. I am no longer angry at them, because they are now in God's hands. Bargaining, I still do this. This is one that I don't think I'll ever get past. I know the answer, but there's still questions and decisions that the day that when I put him on the vent, I questioned myself, what if I hadn't done that? Would he have made it? If I hadn't given him okay to unplug the vent, would he have made it? There are so many things that I question, but deep down I know on September the 9th at 3 o'clock, that was Larry's appointed time. Depression. I deal with depression daily. I wish I could see him and talk to him again. I talk to his picture all the time, but if he ever starts answering me, there's gonna be a problem. No, I ain't gonna do that. But anyway, I get very lonely. I've lost many people in my life, but there's nothing like losing Larry. The doctors put me on some medication. Medication may work for some, but they don't work for all. The medication I was on, I could care less if I lived or died. I couldn't think straight. I was suicidal. And one night at the farm in December, I was at the farm. That was our getaway place. I had the rope fixed and was already on the ladder. But thank God in heaven, he intervened. I am no longer on that medication. I don't have suicidal thoughts. The medicine that I turned to was God Almighty, my church family, and the Christian people that Larry introduced me to. I've accepted that Larry's not coming back. However, I do know I will see him again, but only in God's time, not mine. One thing that I struggle with the most, which is not listed, is when I looked, it is guilt. I have a lot of guilt, because when I laugh, it makes me feel bad because Larry's not here. He's not here to laugh with me. When I give them the okay to turn off the vent, the last breath he took is the one I'll never forget. That continues to follow me, and I try not to dwell on it, but there are some days that I do. this burden a lot. One night I was really, really struggling, and I told him this story. And I asked God, I said, I need to see Larry. I did. I seen him and I said, he had a glow all around him. He was young, he was smiling, he was happy. I asked Larry, I said, what's heaven look like? He said, it's more beautiful than you can ever imagine. And I asked him, I said, what's God look like? He said, you remember when I talked to you that that was in God's timing? I said, yeah. He said, this is in God's timing. I can't tell you that part. He told me to continue to come to church, to surround myself around Christian people, and I always listen to my doctor, but me and him still know what you call a lot. But anyway, what I've received after losing Larry, my faith in God has grown. I have amazing church family, and God has never left my side. I now have an adopted family who has taken me in, and it has been there with me every step of the way, and has never turned their back on me. I've strived to be a better person, and now I can say Larry's name without crying. What I've already accomplished. I kept my promise to Larry and I finished my master's degree. I've already enrolled for my second master's degree, and I started in June or July. I now realize that I do have a purpose. I am sharing my purpose with every one of you to show you that no matter how hard life gets, or what God you have been given, that God never leaves you. All you have to do is call on Him. Because we all need some type of encouragement in life. Before I used to hide my tears. I would try not to cry in front of others. My best advice to you is cry. Cry when you need to. Let those feelings out. Because this helps you to heal. Don't be ashamed to cry. Because there's days that I can still cry. I tear up just about every day. I listen to a lot of Christian music now, and I pray a lot. Those are just some of the things that I go through to help me to survive the hopeless grief with Larry. What I'm trying to stress to everyone is, don't ever take life for granted. Smile, laugh, and enjoy your loved ones, because it can be taken away in a blink of an eye. If any of y'all ever need someone to talk to or to cry with, feel free to reach out to me, because I know sometimes one just needs someone to listen and have a shoulder to cry